I know some do prefer to start the scooter first and then drain the oil after either the first start or maybe their first ride or two. I just like to get it out of there. I have no idea what kind of oil they put in there, and with quality control on some of the Chinese scoots, I don't even trust that they've got the full amount of oil in there. You can see here I'll be using Shell Rotella T15W40. That's a non-synthetic standard engine oil. You don't want to use a synthetic engine oil for the break-in period, which is about 500 to maybe 1,000 miles. You can switch to synthetic after, but you don't want to use a synthetic to start with. For gear oil, I'll be using Mobil 1 75W90 full synthetic. For the gearbox, you can use synthetic right from the start. It's not going to hurt anything. It's a good idea to pick up one of these Prima or Prima magnetic drain bolt kits. It's got engine oil and gearbox oil drain plugs here. They're magnetic, so they'll pick up any metal particles that get into the oil and prevent them from circulating around and doing any further damage inside your engine. The tools you'll need are a 10mm socket or wrench and a 17mm socket or wrench. You'll also need something to drain the engine and the gear oil in. I like to use these graduated plastic beakers here just so I can see how much is coming out of it each time. I'm going to start out with the engine oil change. So you'll want to locate the drain plug that's on the CVT side of the scooter here. It's just under the CVT cover, and place a container below that that'll hold at least a quart comfortably. And then you remove this drain plug. Try not to drop it into your container, of course. The stock drain plug should have a little washer under it that helps it seal. So you'll want to take that off of the stock drain plug, clean it up, and use that with your new drain plug. Or if you're not replacing your drain plug, just clean the plug and the washer both up. Once that's pretty much stopped dripping, I like to take the scooter and tilt it this way to help drain a little more oil out. Once it stops dripping, go ahead and wipe off all the oil residue around there. And then you can reinstall your drain plug and the washer. Move to the other side of the scooter and find this drain plug on the bottom of the engine. Put your container under there to catch the oil that drains out, and then you'll use a 17mm wrench or ratchet to remove it. And when you're removing it, you want to hold a little bit of pressure under here because this does have a spring and some other parts, and you don't want them to drop into your oil. You want to take all these parts and clean them up with brake cleaner or carb cleaner. Once that stops dripping, you can remove your catch pan and clean up around here. If you're reusing the stock plug, you'll start by installing this spring, and you want the smaller side of it facing down into the plug, and then you just drop this little screen filter into place. If you're using the magnetic drain plug, you can see that the magnet takes up a lot of the space where the spring and the filter normally would seat in the stock one. What I do is I just install the spring, again the small side down, onto the magnet. The magnet will sort of hold it in place. And then with a filter, I kind of shape it like you can see here, so it's got a small nipple that'll actually fit down into the magnet here into the center, and then kind of crush this up a little bit so it's just a little shorter than it is. So put that into the top of the spring when the spring's seated in there. Also, no matter which kind of plug you're using, you want to make sure that the rubber seal around it is in good condition. Now you'll slide this assembly into the engine. You have to apply a little pressure because of the spring, and then you can tighten it up. Now remove the dipstick. Wipe off any oil that may be on it. Set that aside. Then you'll need to find a funnel that fits into here. Now I'll pour in 750 milliliters of engine oil. Once I'm finished pouring in the oil, I'll remove the funnel, wipe the area clean around the funnel, and check for any oil that you may have spilled and wipe it up. Insert the dipstick, but don't screw it in. Just seat it right at the edge there. Now remove it and look at your oil level. Now some of these have markings, some of them have a circle on here. Some people say to fill them all the way just to the top of the X's on there. What I do is I know that 750 milliliters is the amount of oil that I want to use in my engine. So after I've filled it and I know exactly what I've got in there, I use a razor and I mark where 750 milliliters is on the dipstick. That way I'll always know exactly how much I've got in there. And there you can see the mark I made on mine. So once you've checked or marked your dipstick, then you can go ahead and install it and screw it all the way in. The engine oil change is complete now, so we can move on to the gearbox oil change. Begin by locating the drain bolt here on the bottom of the case and placing a catch pan below it. This is a 10mm hex head. You're going to want to remove this bolt. Be careful not to lose the washer that's attached to it. Clean up the drain plug and the washer. Even if you're going to replace this one, you'll still need the washer on the magnetic drain kit, so clean that up. Now locate your filler bolt. If you're not sure which one it is, it should have a little aluminum washer under it that the other bolts around it don't have. That's a 10mm hex head, so go ahead and remove it. You want to clean up this bolt and washer as well. Even if you've got the magnetic drain plug kit, you won't have a replacement for this bolt, so clean them both up. Once it's finished draining, go ahead and clean up the area around the drain plug. Then you can take your old bolt or your new magnetic one, put the washer into place over it, and install that and tighten it up. Tip the scooter so that fill hole is facing up a little bit more. Hold it in place. It may be good to have two people do this. Insert that little nipple in there and then start squeezing in gear oil until you get up to 110 milliliters in the transmission. Now wipe up any oil that you may have spilled and then go ahead and reinstall the filler bolt. For a new scooter, you want to change the engine oil after the first 50 miles or maybe even after the first ride, and then every 500 miles after. The gear oil, you can wait about 1,000, maybe even up to 2,000 miles to change it, but I would like to change it at least within the first 500 miles the very first time.